Russia. How have they been involved? Allegations of Russian influence. In August 2016, after WikiLeaks published thousands of DNC emails, it was claimed that Russian intelligence had hacked the emails and leaked them to WikiLeaks. At the time, the DNC officials made such claims along with numbers of cybersecurity experts and cybersecurity firms in October 2016. The reason being because, again, the FBI was not allowed to look because for some reason or other they distrusted Obama's own FBI. The U.S. intelligence community announced that it was confident that the Russian government directed the recent compromises of emails from U.S. persons and institutions, including from U.S. political organizations. Of course, the fact is they have to take the word of people hired by the DNC, and we have to assume that the DNC was not trying to hide anything, even though they actually tried to push Bernie Sanders out, and they bought, evidently, some fallacious information from a dossier. But, hey, let's just ignore that. Anyway, the U.S. intelligence agency said that the hacks were consistent with the methods of Russian-directed efforts, along with, I'm sure, quite a many other countries, and that people high up within the Kremlin were likely motivated. Well, yeah, I could say that they would. They didn't like Hillary, there's no doubt of that. Putin definitely did not like Hillary or Bill Clinton. On the 14th of October 2016, CNN reported that there is mounting evidence that the Russian government is supplying WikiLeaks. Yeah, amazingly enough, it's probably all been provided by people paid by, and not the FBI people themselves, who have to only go by the information provided them by these individuals that are privately paid. That the Russian government is supplying WikiLeaks with hacked emails pertaining to the U.S. presidential election. WikiLeaks has denied any connection to the cooperation with Russia. President Putin has strongly denied any Russian involvement in the election. I wouldn't be surprised, but clearly he did want involvement. I don't think he decided who he wanted to have a win, but he definitely wanted involvement. In September 2016, the German weekly magazine Focus reported that according to a confidential German government dossier, WikiLeaks had long since been infiltrated by the Russian agents aiming to discredit NATO governments. The magazine added that French and British intelligence services had come to the same conclusion and said Russian President Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev received details about what WikiLeaks publishers before publication. That's a very good possibility because, again, as I said, there's a lot of reason why Putin became president because of Bill Clinton and his use of NATO during the Kosovo War. So, yeah, I can see that he definitely does not like either NATO or Bill Clinton. The Focus report followed a New York Times story that suggested that WikiLeaks may be a laundering machine for compromising material about Western countries gathered by Russian spies. That is just a guess. Again, they take innuendo and they attach it to something that makes perfect sense, and then they hope that we won't pay any attention. But hey, go ahead. On the 10th of December 2016, several news outlets, including The Guardian and The Washington Post, reported that the Central Intelligence Agency concluded that Russian intelligence operatives provided materials to WikiLeaks in an effort to help Donald Trump election bid. That is hearsay and innuendo because, honestly, let's be honest, Donald Trump did more damage to himself every day that he opened his mouth. The idea that somehow or another he coordinated this big win when even the media couldn't see it coming is crazy. The Washington Post article stated the CIA has concluded in a secret assessment that Russia intervened in the 2016 election to help Donald Trump win the presidency. They just wanted chaos. That's just stupid to say otherwise. Because, again, Trump did more damage to himself every time he opened his frickin' mouth. rather than just to undermine confidence in the U.S. electoral system, according to officials briefed on the matter. The Guardian article reported individuals linked to the Russian government had provided WikiLeaks with thousands of confidential emails stolen from the Democratic National Committee and others. WikiLeaks has frequently been criticized for the absence of whistleblowers or any criticism of Russia. The Guardian notes that journalists are killed frequently in Russia and notes that Freedom House has ranked Russian press freedoms as not free, and not a surprise whatsoever that it's not free. The main national news agency is firmly controlled by the Kremlin. Duh. The government sets editorial policy at state-owned television stations and dominates the media landscape and generates propaganda content. In April 2017, the CIA Director Mike Pompeo stated it is time to call out WikiLeaks for what it really is, a non-state hostile intelligence service, often abetted by state actors like Russia. Pompeo said that the U.S. intelligence community had concluded that Russia's primary propaganda outlet, RT, had actively collaborated with WikiLeaks. October 2017, it was revealed that Cambridge Analytica, a company working on behalf of the Trump presidential campaign, had contacted WikiLeaks about missing Hillary Clinton emails and the possibility of creating a searchable database for the campaign to use. After this was reported, Assange confirmed that WikiLeaks had been approached by Cambridge Analytica but had rejected the approach. WikiLeaks did not disclose what the subject of Cambridge Analytica's approach was. Here's the part that concerns me. The meeting with Donald Trump Jr. at Trump Tower on June 9, 2016. The one that put Donald Trump Jr. at risk of prison. It was 8 people involved. Donald Trump Jr., of course. Jared Kushner, who left early, of course, when he realized it wasn't going to mean anything. And then Paul Manafort, who, as we said, is also connected to this whole thing with the Podestas. And then we've got 3 people of GPS, which was in part of this whole dossier thing that was supposed to put pressure on proving that Trump colluded. And it at least indicates that there might have been an orchestrated effort to at least put pressure on Trump. And then, when it was clear that he wasn't conforming to the way Washington does business, it looks like maybe possibly Paul Manafort was thrown under the bus because of his links with the Russian conspiracy. That would further add to legitimacy because, again, they needed the polls to crash. Anything that would get it possible for the Republicans to panic and go through the impeachment trial. Now, like I said, I think the Russians just wanted to cause chaos. There is no reason, and there's also no way in this world you're going to convince me that either Hillary or Donald Trump did anything during the campaign that would remotely look like they were actually intelligent enough to figure out and collude with Russia to get elected. They did more damage themselves.